Hey guys, so I started thinking maybe I should make some other videos about other parts of my life. So there is other things that I do other than invest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So one of the other things I'm interested in is business. So at the age of, when I was 22 or 23, I opened up my own grocery store, and basically, long story short, it didn't really work out like a lot of small businesses. It's just like your bricks and mortar buying and selling essentially. So while I learned a lot of things like how to manage overheads and how to sort of manage stock coming in and inventory control and sort of staying on top of finances and basically making sure more money's coming in than going out. It was very limited in how much I could do in terms of marketing. Just the location that I was I set up the business in, it was heavily dependent on walk-in traffic. The demographic was a lot older, so advertising and marketing, which was my background, was a lot more difficult than for, say, like a business targeted at a wider or more general market. So it made me try to be a bit creative, but in the end, long story short, I had to find a way to exit because for someone who's quite young, I found it to be unprofitable, and for the amount of hours I was putting in and the stress it was causing on my personal life, as well as my partner that was with me at the time helping me run the business, it just wasn't worth what was going on. In groceries or fast moving consumer goods industry, and the business was similar to, if you guys have heard of and you're based in Australia, Not Quite Right, or to a lesser degree Aldi. So what we did was sell stock that was in excess. So like the supermarkets would purchase certain stock or would have some promotional lines, like for example biscuits that were limited edition or biscuits that were related to movies. So like sometimes you'll see limited edition biscuits or confectionery or something with some relationship or link to a movie that's popular at the time, and if they don't do well, or if for whatever reason they're just a very slow moving line, this kind of stock would end up in national distribution centres within Australia, and then be on-sold to smaller retailers like myself. I was part of one of these smaller retailer bricks and mortar stores, so I guess my demographic or my audience or the people who my customers were people who were sort of thrifty and like looking for biscuits but didn't want to pay retail for them. So this is a good business market model for a particular niche, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it does have a lot of issues because one, there's not always necessarily excess stock coming from these national distribution channels, because they've also got their own retail fronts. Sorry, I'll just wait for this plane to go past because it's too loud. Yeah, so these national distribution channels would have their own retail fronts, which is in direct competition with us, so they wouldn't always supply us with stock. I guess the key takeaway was, the two biggest issues I had was lack of availability of stock that was in demand. Sometimes there would be really good stock, so we'd get branded juice and dairy products that you would buy from supermarkets, so like Don and Taboldi and I forget the names, but the large yogurt brands and all the orange juice manufacturers and companies. We'd get a lot of this stock and we'd turn them over very quickly, and there'd be high margins on them as well. However, at other times we'd just have stock that was just crap that we just couldn't sell, that end up on the shelves, and being food and being perishable, basically we'd have to clear them out at cost price or sometimes at a loss just to get rid of the stock. So for anyone who's aspiring to start their own business, I don't want this to be discouraging, but especially in the Australian market, you can definitely make good money running your own business. Two things I've probably noticed is that in Australia, you want to come up with a solution to a problem where a small amount of people will be willing to pay a large amount of money for your solution. So a very niche product where people are willing to pay large amounts. So think of Apple products like the iPhone and things like that, right? Or if you're going to be in the market of value, so you're going to compete on basically price, or you're going to compete on a better service. So let's say you're going to come up with a business model where you're just buying and selling. You have to have a competitive edge over your direct competitors. The only way you can really do this is one, through marketing, branding, and also looking at things that people care about. So what's going to make someone buy from you over the shop next door? So it might just be a matter of you do donations back, or you help out with the community and you give back in one way or another. Maybe you're more ethical in your trading. Maybe you help certain causes that you're aligned with, and also you spend more time promoting a story and a feeling. So when your customers purchase from you, they have a certain feeling when they think of your brand, or they have a certain connection, relationship with your business. So this might come down to customer service. So same product, same business, similar location, but you go to one store because you like the vibe you get when you go into that store. Maybe the customer service is exceptional, people are always friendly and always helpful. That can be a difference long term, but it's not always enough. So in a competitive market, you have to find a way to be faster, more efficient, more cheaper, and provide more value. So it can be very difficult to break the market within Australia, especially in saturated markets. So think of your takeaway shops, think of your grocery stores, think of your kebab shops, and fish and chips, and gift stores, and the type of stores that you see everywhere, right? The ones that are doing really well are the niches. So like if you think about donuts, like 24-hour donuts, that's something a bit different. Food trucks are very popular at the moment. Frozen yogurt was very popular for a time being in Australia. It's something different. So as soon as a fad becomes popular, you need to be involved during that time. So not only is it a good business idea, the great customer service, branding, marketing, Instagram, social media, all these kind of things, but it also has to be the timing in the market. So it's just something to think about. I'll cover more content like this in the future if this is something you guys enjoy listening to. Normally I focus on cryptocurrencies, but this is something that is at the front of my mind very often, and I'd like to sort of discuss these ideas and get your feedback on these type of videos. So I'm thinking in terms of what kind of content going forward. I'd probably discuss the challenges that I face running my business. So this can translate to all sorts of businesses, not just your retail type of businesses. The assumptions I made when I went into business and things to look out for. I might also discuss mistakes that you can avoid when you first start out, and also just general business model tips. So thinking about what problem you're solving and how you can actually understand your demographic, or ultimately the person that's going to pay for your product or service, and how can you leverage that. So yeah, let's see where this goes. This will be my first video of this kind, and I'll give it a bit more thought and more planning. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll join you guys again next week. Peace.